Hey there, this is K4A, Knowledge for All educational videos channel. We are continuing with Scratch tutorials, we are continuing with learning Scratch blocks, and in this video we are going to learn how and when to use Scratch block which is named X position. Okay, let's go to Scratch to see that in action. In last few videos we were playing with some Scratch and learning some Scratch blocks which were motion blocks, and they were connected to direction and X and Y coordinates. In this one we are going to continue that, and we are going to learn a Scratch block which is named X position. Click on it. It's one of the motion blocks, one of the last one of the motion blocks. They are blue. Click and drag it to your Scratch programming window and zoom. I will zoom a little bit so you can see clearer, because this is so small. We have made so much code so far, and let's see what are we going to use this for and how to use it. We have explained earlier that you can experiment with the blocks and see what they do without attaching them into some other blocks or to some other blocks. So all you have to do is just click on them. So let's click first on X position block to see what will happen. Some number pop-ups, and that's the same number which we have here in our X X field here under the stage, and that number says minus 177. I will now go to the click on the stage on the right so I can pick some other stage, then go to the backdrops on your left, upper left, and pick X and Y grid which we have imported before. If you don't have it on your screen, just go here on this, choose a backdrop and go to the bottom and click on X and Y grid, and the same grid will import which we are using now in our video. Okay, so click on the cat again, and what can we see now? First of all, I will hide this mouse and I will hide this acid, and I will hide this lava. Okay, and maybe this cloud too. Okay, so we have more space and clearer situation so we can see what we are doing here. Okay, so cat says minus 177. What does that mean? That means that cat is 177 pixels to the left from this starting point which says 0, 0. If I put cat somewhere here around 100 and click on the X position, what will the X position be? It will change from minus 177 to something else, 124. Why is that now in plus? Because we moved from left to right, and if you can see on your stage in this X and Y grid, which I have already explained in previous videos, you can watch coordinate system video to understand it better. Scratch works so that it divides your space, your stage, on two axes, X and Y. X goes from left to right, from minus to plus, and it goes I forgot exactly how big the stage is, 360 or something like that. Oh yeah, it's here on the screen. It's 480 pixels wide, so you can go 240 into minus on the left and 240 in the plus on the right. So those are the max values and minimum values. So every time the cat goes from left to the right and from right to the left, its position and its X coordinate will change, and that is what we are going to use this X position Scratch block. So that Scratch block will show us where the cat is on our grid, in our space, on our stage, if we want to know her exact X position coordinate. And we have clicked on it once, and we have one value, but this is not interactive. We have to click on it and then change the cat and so on. So that makes not much sense, and it makes much more sense to use it in our game, in some of our blocks, and to use it with some other Scratch block. Okay, the first thing which comes on my mind is to use it with say block, and this way I hope we are going to see this X position of the cat all the time. If I put this on the start, I hope you understand. So far we have explained it so many times, this block will execute only once. So all of those blocks here are executed only once. We don't want that. We want our cat to say her X position all the time, forever. So this is where we are going to attach it. Instead, on the beginning or here, we are going to touch it in this forever block. Why? Because we want our cat to say its position all the time. So now on the screen, when I move the cat left and right, her X position will change here on X coordinate, and at the same time I will have the cat saying that X position, because we have told her to do that with this say Scratch block, in which we have attached this X position new block into. Okay, so let's try our game now. Click on the green flag and nothing happens, and that's, I don't know why. Say X position forever. Yeah, I probably made something wrong. Let's just see why is that. So let's try this only. Yeah, now it works. Okay, so let's try it again with this. I think I know where the problem is. Yeah, okay, because I'm making these videos not prepared for them, so I make them go with the flow. I make them as I make them. I don't think about them much earlier and prepare them, so these accidents will happen, but it's good to see how real world programming works. So I have some problem, and now I'm going to solve it and try to solve it, and we are going to analyze a little bit where the problem is. If I put this say X position here in forever block and I start my game, and that works as I wanted, so you can see exactly how our X coordinate changes, and it changes in 10 steps, and that is because our movement is defined here with change X by 10 and minus 10. So if you want to change it by 5, you have to change it here in left arrow key pressed and right arrow key pressed, and the cat will show that on the screen, so the X coordinates will change to 5 instead of 10. I don't mind 10 here, it's good to my example. And let's just now see how these values changes. If I go to the right, they grow up, so 50, 60, 70, 80 and so on, up to the 200. Oh, it can go even more, up to the 270. Nice. And same on the left. If I go to the left, the values go lower. You can also see that if I go up, my X value doesn't change. Why is that? Well, it's simple math. I'm not changing the X value now. If I go up and down, I only change the Y value. you can see the y value here changing in this y field, and the x stays the same. So that's all cool. I'm not changing my position on left and right, I'm only changing it on up and down. And now when I change it to the left, the value changes, to the right the value changes. So it works fine, and this is one of the way you can see how x coordinate and x position works. And if you're confused from earlier lessons, and if you're not still very confident how x and y coordinates work in Scratch, so this is the one way you can see that in action and see that better and simpler. And I'm going to explain also where you can use it in our game, maybe later where we are going to use it. For now, the only usage here is to show the x position, the x coordinate, so we can see that better in action. And the problem I have here now is if I attach everything which we have made earlier, this script is not working, this code is not working. And why is that? Is there some bug? Is there some problem? Let's try to find it. Okay, let's detach this, zoom it to see a little bit more what we are saying Scratch to do here. I'm saying Scratch, if you're touching the green acid, say something, set color, set a ghost effect, and so on. That's all cool. Let's see what I'm telling Scratch to do else with the cat. Else, that means else if you're not touching the green color, and that is exactly what we are doing now. Now we are not touching the green color. Now we are not touching the green acid. Why? Because there is no green color on the stage, there is no green acid pawn on the stage. So this code here is what we are going to change, and where the problem is. Say and clear graphic effects. Why? Because this is what is happening now. This is what the cat is, or the Scratch, excuse me, this is what the Scratch is trying to do to cat now. The Scratch first examines if we are touching the green color. No, then Scratch goes down and says else do this. So these two blocks are problematic, not this touching the orange color. Why? Because there is not orange color, and not this touching the green color. Why? Because there is no green color. So the only problem can be in these two blocks, and the solution must we must make solution here and attach it here in else block. Okay, so let's try to see what is the problem and how to solve it. I'm telling the Scratch, if cat is not touching the green color, say nothing. Okay, so that is the problem. At the same time, I was telling Scratch, say X position, but down below I was telling the Scratch, examine the green color. Okay, nothing is touching the green color, then say nothing. So these two blocks, say X position and say nothing, are contradictory. One of them, you cannot have both of them. It's like say something, say some word, and don't say anything, don't say any word. So that's what you're telling Scratch here. I was telling Scratch, okay, say my X position, but later don't say anything. So I was actually deleting this block, and we can test that right away and see if I'm right by doing this. If I put say X position, that will work, as we have seen so far. Okay, but if I put my say nothing below it, that means don't say anything, I will delete this first block X position. I will delete this block with this one. Let's see that. Yeah, so we see that was the problem, and that's what was confusing the Scratch. Actually, the Scratch wasn't confused. Scratch was exactly doing what we told him to do, but it wasn't what we wanted to see on the stage. So we're saying say something, then say nothing. Okay, so what do I have to do now? The only oops, the only thing I have to use here is, instead of saying nothing, I will say my X position here, and I will clear graphic effects here. Why? Because these two blocks will happen only and only if the cat is not touching the green color. If the cat is touching the green color, this will happen. If not, else this will happen, and so on. So that's what we needed to change, I think, at least. So let's see, let's put that in forever and try to see if it works. Yeah, it works. Cool. So we have that as we wanted. So we can see now X position all the time at the screen. A little bit laggy and glitchy, but it works. Probably because of my internet it lags, but and my computer is dying, but as always, but this works nice. Okay, let's try to import these two, acid and lava, to see if it will work with them combined. Yeah, if I touch, it will disappear. If I don't touch, the coordinates, the X position shows above my cat character. That's I wanted to have here. The only thing that we are seeing now is X position. We don't see Y position. We will learn that in some of our next videos. The principle is the same, but we are going to use it to make something else, something more usable for our game, because this was more like general example, nothing concrete for our game. One more thing which I will show, I'm going just to tell you now where you can use this and how. For example, well, you can use this X position and Y position combining. If you saw our earlier videos, you probably know that these blocks, which are oval, like egg shaped, you can put them in those open white fields in some other blocks, so you can combine them in every one of those fields which we have learned before, and play with it, change it, mix it, and so on. So this is great thing to have in your arsenal of scratch blocks, and you can also use it with these operators. We will learn that later because we have to learn some other blocks, but it will be great to learn all of it, because we will finally be able to make some more complex games. In my game, this simple game which we are making now, I will probably use this. For example, if for example I want my cat to enter the next level when it goes near to this right edge. So for example, if I go to the right edge, go to the level 2. If I go to the left edge, go to the level 3, and so on. So, or from level to 11. This is first level, so go to the right 2, go to the next level, second level, and so on. So one way we can do that is by saying, first of all, you can see that the cat is saying now my X position is 213. So one way to learn that, to make that, is to say when the cat goes over X position greater than 200, put her into the next level. So every time the cat goes from 199 like this, 193, one step more to 203 or 230 and so on, it will jump into the next level. Also, where else you can use this X position, you can use it, as I said before, combined with these operators to calculate one distance, one position from one character to another, for example from your player character to some enemy character, and see something from that, like if my enemy is too far away from him, I cannot hit him. If he is close enough, I can hit him, and so on. So that's it. Okay, I think that's enough for this lesson. I'm already talking too much, but today we have learned how to use this motion block exposition, and we are going to use it in next few videos to make our character, our cat, enter the second level by going to the right. And that's it for this video. Keep on scratching, keep on learning. Bye for now.